Hi, welcome to the free virtual assistant training where you will learn usable skills in the VA industry to help you jumpstart your VA career. This is the first module in our training where you will learn the basics as a VA. My name is Desiree and I will be your coach throughout this entire training. We will continue understanding the basics in the VA industry. In the previous lesson, we have discussed the first requirement as a VA, which was the internet requirements. And in this lesson, we will discuss the hardware or the equipment requirement that you will need to prepare as a virtual assistant. Take note that there is an available downloadable file, which is a checklist for the different VA requirements that you'll have to prepare. And you can get that checklist through the training portal. So just find this Module 1 Lesson 6 training, and then you can download the checklist from there. And if you have no access to the portal yet, you can still sign up for it. Link is in the description box. Now, in the previous lesson, we discussed the minimum internet requirements, the wired and wireless connections, and what you can do in case of internet outages. The second important set of requirements that you need to invest in as a VA are hardware. The hardware requirements. So let's go through them one by one, and let's start with the computer requirement. Answering first one of the most common questions I keep on getting. Can I use my phone to work as a VA instead of a computer? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Aside from it will be incredibly difficult to use phones, to use the different apps that you need to open at the same time to complete your tasks, there are also online tools and systems that are not mobile friendly. So there might be tools that are available on mobile, but only has a few features on mobile compared to their web versions. So let me reiterate, you will need a laptop or a PC to work as a VA. This is another one of a necessary investment. Not only will you have to invest in a good internet service provider so that you have consistent and stable internet connection, but you'll also have to invest with different equipment that you'll have to, of course, use as a virtual assistant. So this is just like a similar thing if you're like a carpenter. I know that this is not a good example, but let's say you're a carpenter and you're working and you're on call to fix like something in the house of your client. And for you to be able to do that, you'll have to bring in like your hammer and your handsaw or whatever. These are the necessary tools or equipment that you'll have to own, that you'll have to purchase for you to do your job. So this is the same thing as a virtual assistant. You'll have to invest in purchasing these necessary equipment for you to be able to start working in that field as a virtual assistant. Now, you may say that there are companies, right, who provide equipment once you were accepted. And the answer to that is yes, there are some companies who will provide the equipment that you will need once you got accepted to that job role. But then again, that's not always the case. Most of the time, as a virtual assistant, you'll have to get these equipment yourself. So like I mentioned, this is a necessary investment, and purchasing a laptop or a PC is really a requirement. Now let's go ahead and start with the minimum computer specifications. Again, these are just the minimum computer requirements, and different VA roles will require different specs, especially for niches that rely heavily on computer power, such as video editing and web development, etc. So these, again, are the minimum computer specs requirements. Let's start with the central processing unit, or the CPU's processor. The CPU is considered as the brain of your computer. So essentially, the processor determines how fast your computer processes data. The faster and more powerful the processor is, the faster it can complete its tasks. So don't settle for anything less than Intel Core i5. For AMD, choose Ryzen 5 or the above version, and M1 for Mac OS or Apple computers. M2 is their latest processor. Again, these are the minimum processor requirements, and if your work needs more processing power, you will need more than what is listed here. The next requirement is the computer storage device. A storage device can be used to store digital data and applications, which may be in the form of images, video, audio, and etc. Storage drives affect the speed of your computer. For VAs, we recommend getting a computer like a PC or a laptop running in an SSD or the solid state drive. A minimum of 250 gigabytes should be good for VAs. An HDD or a hard disk drive is the traditional storage device. So let's go ahead and take a look at a quick comparison between an SSD and an HDD. Alright, so over here, just to discuss briefly the difference in the picture, SSDs are faster compared to HDDs. However, it has a shorter lifespan and is more expensive than an HDD. An SSD is non-mechanical and it is shock resistant compared to HDD. So an SSD is best for storing operating systems, gaming apps, and frequently used files as compared to HDDs, which are best for storing extra data such as movies, photos, and documents. SSDs are often used in laptops because they're non-mechanical. So SSDs require less power, so you will have a longer battery life. Lower priced laptops are still run on HDDs with cheaper hard drives. Most mid-range to high-end computers come with an SSD. Because HDDs have moving or mechanical parts, if you drop your laptop while the read or write head of a hard drive is in motion, or like when your computer is turned on and you drop your laptop, it could result in data failure. This doesn't happen in SSDs because it is non-mechanical, therefore it is shock resistant and more suitable for clumsy VAs who are prone to dropping things, including their laptops. The speed difference between solid state drives versus hard disk drives is significant. SSDs are extremely fast in all areas of computer operations. That's why we recommend for you to get a computer running in SSDs. And I want to highlight again that SSDs are faster compared to HDDs. So if you're doing your tasks and if it involves going through different online platforms, online tools, and whatever, you might have a faster and a seamless work if you have a computer running on SSDs. Now, the next spec that you need to pay attention to is the random access memory, or the RAM. The RAM provides the shorter term memory the CPU needs to open files and move data around as it responds to the tasks given to it by your apps. A good RAM to start with as a VA is 8 gigabytes of RAM. Don't get a computer with a RAM lower than 8 gigabytes because your computer will be as fast as a snail and it will always crash. Trust me, I've been there before, and a simple task that should take just a few minutes will take longer because of a laggy computer. So you will miss your deadlines, you'll get frustrated because an easy task that was supposed to finish just a few minutes ago is now taking more than an hour because of a slow laptop. Make sure that you get 8 gigabytes of RAM or more for you to have a better performing laptop. The next spec that we'll take a look at is the graphics card. The purpose of a graphics card is to render graphics. Without a graphics card, your computer cannot display any information, let alone function how you need it. An advanced graphics card is not really a requirement unless your VA niche will require it, such as in the video editing niche. If that's the case, you will need a good graphics card such as the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050. I myself specialize in digital marketing and social media, so I don't look at graphics card when purchasing computers. I only consider the processor, the SSD, and the RAM. But like I said, if your work or if your niche will require a higher graphics card spec, then this is the recommended graphics card. As for monitor or screen requirements, as a VA, you will need to open a lot of apps and browser tabs at the same time. It might be comfortable if you have two monitors, but for me personally, I only have one, and I've been a VA and a manager and a digital marketing coordinator, but I made it work with only one monitor. Unless, of course, it's really necessary. I know of a virtual receptionist job where you need to open a camera and monitor the surveillance in one monitor and open admin apps in one monitor. So in that case, it's really necessary to have two monitors for you to do your tasks simultaneously. So unless it's really necessary, one monitor should suffice. Unless you want to watch Netflix on another monitor while you're working, then it's really up to you if you need to use two different monitors for work. Let's next discuss about the other important set of hardware you need to prepare as a VA. Let's talk about cameras. You will need a working camera, of course, mostly for interviews, meetings, or recording yourself. If your laptop has a built in camera, then that's good. Just make sure that it's working properly. If your PC has no camera or your laptop camera is not working, then you have to buy one. In this picture, this is my camera. It's a Logitech C270 HD webcam, which is this one. I got it from Shopee for 849 pesos and it was on sale, but its regular price is 1,195. I will attach the link in the downloadable checklist for you to find the shop I bought this from. You may, of course, use other camera brands. Just make sure that your camera is working well. It doesn't really have to be high definition or 4K. It just has to be a camera that can capture you clearly with a clear picture. During interviews, you will, of course, need to show your face. Imagine if your feed is blurry or colored green because of faulty camera. Trust me when I say that this will greatly affect your interview results. Now, you will also need to show your face during meetings. As a Filipino, we're all used to turning off our cameras and just converse off cam. However, most clients will consider it rude if you're not showing your face. So you need to make sure you're at least presentable when you're working because your client might call you for an on-the-spot meeting. And of course, your camera should be working for this. Speaking of meetings, another requirement that you need to prepare, but this isn't necessarily one of the main requirements, is that you need a decent looking background. This isn't strictly a requirement when looking for a job, but it's a part of professionalism that you have a professional background during meetings. A simple plain colored background will do. Take a look at the picture here. As you can see, most of these people have a plain colored background, like a plain white or plain green or blue background. Plain is clean and plain is professional. So if you can find a spot in your home that looks like that, then you can use that as a background during your meetings. So in our case with our home, as shown here by my daughter, here, as you can see, we have some parts that are plain colored, so I can set up my laptop in here for meetings. The lighting is bad when we took this, so sorry for that. But if you have a spot with bad lighting, you can always use a ring light or something similar to just give you a little bit of brightness during your meetings. We have plain white and then plain blue. Any color works as long as it looks clean. This is my sister's office, and that's her custom background required by her work because she's an ESL teacher. This is my husband, he's a data analyst, and this is his background, his whiteboard where he writes stuff. And this is my office. The background is a bookshelf, which is organized, so I consider that as a good background. Here it is with me pretending to be in a meeting, and I love the bookshelf background. I think it makes me look like I read a lot. We must avoid a background where people can be seen walking or eating, or a background where your interviewer or your employer might see some clothes hanging. I used to manage a team of VAs, and trust me when I say that clients will notice your meeting background. And even though it has nothing to do with your performance, it has something to do with your professionalism. So let's just avoid improper meeting backgrounds. If you can't find a good spot in your house for meetings and you really need to be in a call with your client or you need to be interviewed ASAP, you can take advantage of different green screen backgrounds by different video call apps. So Zoom and Google Meet have an option for you to change your background into something else, like in this example right here. So you can go ahead and change it into something more professional. Let me show you how. Take a look at this, for example. So here's me on a random Saturday morning, just woke up recording this for you with my professional coat on. This is in my kitchen, and as you can see, all sorts of stuff are in my background, like cat food, milk, and stuff your employer or interviewer don't need to see. So in Zoom, click your picture and then go to settings, backgrounds, and effects, and change your background from here. Let's try to blur out our background first. Here you can see that Zoom will outline you as a person and blur out everything else in the background. So if you don't have an office or a private meeting to go into a meeting, you can opt to have a blurred background instead. If you want, you can also change it into an office image, such as what I'm doing right now. Instead of selecting blur, I'm uploading an image, and once uploaded, I will select that here. And as you can see, I am now in a totally different background, which looks so expensive and professional. So these are your options if you have no plain or professional looking background for meetings. Green screen or blurring is the key. While in the subject of being professional in the meeting, you also need to be professionally or at least casually clothed when on a meeting with your interviewer or client. Working at home doesn't mean looking like you're at home. Avoid looking like you just got out of bed. Wearing pajamas, basketball jerseys, sandals, spaghetti strap tops, or low plunging necklines showing cleavage. As beautiful or as handsome as you are, work is work and being professional is an important part of it. And looking professional and how you present yourself is also very important. You may wear just your normal blouse or a plain t shirt, or in these pictures, you can wear a blouse or a shirt and a cardigan, and you will already look casual and professional enough. Another hardware requirement for VAs is a good headset with noise cancellation microphone, especially for us Filipinos, since most of us in most neighborhoods have neighbors with chickens or dogs. And in my case, the back of our house is the subdivision's basketball court with karaoke. And our neighbor has an angry chihuahua barking almost every hour of every day. It is important that when you're in a meeting with your employer, you will be able to communicate well and understand each other. Proper communication is another form of professionalism, so it's also a good investment to purchase a headset with noise cancellation microphone. I used this Logitech headset and got it from Shopee so it can muffle, if not totally remove the background noise in my audio. I will add the link for this headset in the downloadable file that I mentioned earlier, in which you can access in the portal for you to check out. If you don't have a noise cancellation headset, and if it's not in your budget yet to purchase one, there are apps that can help you lessen background noise, such as Crisp.ai, for example. It is a free online resource to help eliminate background noise and echo cancellation. They can eliminate sounds like barking dogs, street noise, crying babies, keyboard clicks, and fan sounds. Their free plan gives you 60 minutes of noise free audio streams per day. If you're always on a call and you need more than 60 minutes of noise free audio daily, it is best to invest in a noise cancellation headset, as these online apps will now require a monthly subscription to continue with their services. Here is Crisp.ai's pricing to compare. Under the free pricing, you'll see the details such as the 60 minutes daily noise-free audio. If you need unlimited noise-free audio, you'll pay $8 or approximately 445 pesos per month for this service. There are other features of Crisp such as meeting notes, centralized user management, and billing that comes with the feature. But then if you're not using those, I highly suggest purchasing this headset instead, and you will only pay for it once, and you will have the purpose of noise cancellation always. And that's it, you guys. We have discussed the common and minimum hardware requirements that you need to prepare and invest in order to become a virtual assistant. I have compiled these requirements for you, and you can go ahead and download it in the portal. Just log in and download it from this lesson, which is Module 1, Lesson 6. If you don't have access to the portal yet, please go ahead and sign up to create your account in the link you're seeing on the screen, or you can go to the description box to sign up. This training portal will be an organized and a free guided training to help you navigate through all the training modules better. Alrighty, let's get connected. All of our socials and YouTube channel is at Task Delegate, so let's get connected. You can send us a DM if you have any concerns, and leave any of your questions in the comments section of the video, and we will be happy to answer you. Now that we're done discussing the hardware requirements, we will discuss the lesson 7 of this module, which will be your VA resume. How does a good VA resume look like, and how can you make one? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!